how's it going, guys? Stonewall here with Raised by Sharks. Today we're going to be bringing you a heavy bowgun build centered around Pierce. Really, this build though can be used with spread, normal shots, or just a general heavy bowgun build. Also, very easily slots into any weapon type, and all you have to do to change the type of build that this is just change the waist and the legs, and that's it. So one of the good things about this build is it doesn't really require you to have too much rare stuff. It pretty much just requires you to have 2 or 3 rare jewels to slot into equipment, but you could farm that now with some of the events that are out. We're going to go ahead and start on the armor. The helmet is the Dragon King Eye Patch A because it gives 2 weakness exploit and a large jewel slot. Next, you're going to want the Dober Male B for 2 attack boost and again a large slot. The gauntlets you're going to want are the Nergigante Vambraces A, so that way you get 2 agitator, 1 attack boost. The waist you're going to want to run is the Wrath Soul Coil A, so that way you get 2 windproof and 1 piercing shots, which is critical to the piercing build. So remember how I said you could switch it out easily? Basically what you would do is drop the waist, slot in a Nergigante waist, or really whatever you want to fill in the skills to raise your DPS, and then you would swap it out with the legs, because the legs has the spread, and the legs also have the normal shot. That way you could slot in whatever you want, as well as just changing out the waist straight up for a blademaster weapon to get blademaster related skills like critical eye. Speaking of the legs you're going to want to use are the Nergigante Greaves A, because it gives you maximum might 1, agitator 1, and a small jewel slot. The charm you're going to want to run is the attack charm 3, so that way you can get 3 levels of attack. If you're going to run this build for a Pierce build like I suggest, you're going to want to go with the Kodachi Lion 3. The Kodachi Lion 3 has 255 attack, 15 affinity, and a small slot base, as well as 3 augmentation slots, which is key. The reason you're going to want to use this for Pierce builds is because it gives you 9 level 1 Pierce, 7 level 2 Pierce, and 5 level 3 Pierce, as well as giving you an excellent variety of other ammos such as level 2 Sticky and Cluster, 2 Paralysis and 1 Paralysis, 1 Sleep. It also gives you Thunder and Dragon ammo, as well as Slicing, which even though it was nerfed, even after the update, it just went from being an overpowered ammo type to a very strong ammo type. So I still enjoy putting it into my weapons. And it's also got Wyvern ammo, as well as Wyvern Snipe type, which I believe is stronger than Wyvern Heart. If you're going to use this for a spread build, I suggest instead of using heavy bowgun, go to the light bowgun for better mobility. And it's also got the Dora's Hornet, which you can use level 2 spread with easily, as well as giving it a variety of decent ammo types. The only downside to that one is that you do lose a little bit of DPS because it's not as strong as the Kodachi. Also, you only get 1 augmentation slot. So, I've yet to get a Warrior Streamstone Raged. I keep getting the Heroes one for it, so I can't show you the final stats with it augmented, but I can explain it to you because I'm using a calculator to give us final damage values. So I'm going to show that to you at the end when I show you all the skills. But for now, what you would slot in through the augmentation is always slot Affinity first, because the first Affinity augment will give you 10% bonus. The rest will only give you 5, meaning that to get the highest DPS out of your weapon, you would want to slot in Affinity for the first augmentation, and then attack bonus for all of the other ones after that. Okay, going back to the equipment, what you're going to slot into the Kodachi Lion small slot is an attack jewel, and then you're going to want to slot into the big slots a critical boost and a weakness exploit jewel, and then into the final small slot, you're going to put an expert jewel because attack is full. The final skills you're going to get from this build is attack boost 7, weakness exploit 3, agitator 3, windproof 2, piercing shots 1, critical eye 1, critical boost 1, and maximum might 1. So with this build, if you were to switch it over to a blademaster weapon, you would pretty much just drop the windproof and piercing shot and replace it with whatever DPS skills you wanted to add on for your blademaster weapon. As for the light bowgun for spread or normal, you would have to drop the piercing shots and switch it over to the legs and lose 1 agitator and the maximum might, which then you could replace with whatever you put onto the waist instead. So for those of you that like the deeper stats in this game, the true attack of this build gives you 180 with a final attack of 272, which is very high for a heavy bowgun build, and it's also not entirely reliant on situational skills because the agitator maximum might isn't taking up the majority of the build. Most of it is in weakness exploit and other skills that allow you to concentrate on your own ability. After augmentation, you would end with a flat affinity of 43, with an increased affinity of 50 anytime you hit weak points, an increased affinity of 9 anytime the monster is enraged, and an increased affinity of 10 anytime you have maximum stamina. Meaning if all of the skills, or even just 2 of them, are active at a time, you'll be hitting maximum affinity, with the critical boost increasing your affinity damage, and also regular attack jewels making that critical hit extremely devastating. Alright, that's it for this build, guys. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to Raised by Sharks. We're going to be doing more coverage of Monster Hunter World as we go. We're looking forward to Devil Joe. When he comes out, we're going to be putting out a review of all of his equipment as soon as physically possible. Please leave a like and subscribe to Raised by Sharks. Thanks for watching, guys.